VGAmore presents The Genesis Years, Part 1. Ha 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 ha.
Best known for going heads up with Nintendo in the late 80s and the early 90s, Sega was quickly gaining on the huge share of the market that Big N had amassed. With the now infamous Genesis Does What Nintendo Don't ads in place, the Blue Bomber was ready to take on Mario, and Sega was poised to become a global leader in the video game market. Sega was seen as the edgier company in the early 90s. Allowing blood in games like Mortal Kombat was a huge deal, and was one of the reasons people saw Genesis as the more adult choice. I know personally, the Mortal Kombat was a big deal when it first. Alright, so right here you'll see some of the blood I was talking about. When a character gets hit in this game, they take some damage, and bloods will sometimes fly out of their heads. Now, the Genesis version kept this in, while the Super Nintendo version got rid of it, which kind of led to a lot of people kind of leaning towards the Genesis, myself included. So this is an example of one of the fatalities. This is Liu Kang's fatality. You see that blood pop out there, and then they drop down into that pit on this level. And now, Mortal Kombat wasn't the only reason Sega Genesis was considered a little bit more adult. There also was a lot of games like Madden and Joe Montana's Football, things like that. Sport. Sega was really pushing their gaming system on adults with commercials like this.
16-bit sports moves.
In 1991, Sega released an add-on for its Genesis in Japan. It was called the Mega CD, and it stored games on a CD which allowed for full motion video. Now, the main benefits of CD technology are greater storage capacity, and which allows for games to be nearly 320 times larger than their Genesis cartridge counterparts. Now let's take a look at a game called Corpse Killer. It was released in 1994, relatively late in the Sega CD lifecycle, and yet it's still, the quality of the full motion video is still like less than half than that of the other versions of the games. As you can see here, it's pretty bad. And a lot of the Sega CD games actually were released that were really bad like this. The quality of the graphics weren't very good. They weren't that interactive. I mean, it was literally like watching a movie that you could kind of press left, right, up, down every once in a while. That's it. Not interactive. And this one is actually released late in the life cycle, and yet the video quality is still really low. Marred by bad video quality, uninteresting games, and slow sales, only selling 2 million units worldwide, the Sega CD was considered a failure. The Sega CD would prove to be only one of many blunders made by Sega in the early 90s.